Hello, and today we're going to be talking about the improv exercises for learning to play with two-note chords. So the first exercise is one of the easiest to learn, yet one of the hardest to master. So it looks like this. So what I basically did was I took a C scale and I played the first and third, second and fourth, third and fifth, and I went back. So I'm basically taking pieces of the scale and just moving up and down. Now, what you want to do is not only play this on the C scale, but also on the C sharp scale and the D scale. So on the C sharp, it would look like this. On the D scale. And then you just keep going until you cover all the scales. The second exercise is about octaves. So let's take the C scale, for example, and just play octaves. And the C sharp scale. So you would do that until you've covered all the scales. And another thing to do is to actually play the chords piece by piece. So take a C chord, for example. That's C, E, and G. And you can keep going. And this is how you could practice octaves. And then you can also transition to the D scale. Let's do that again. So the third exercise is about taking pieces of chords. So, for example, you have a C chord. And you're just chopping it up into little pieces. And you can go as slow as you want. And yeah. Now, the next thing to do after you master your C chord is you go on to your D chord. So, for example, and it doesn't really matter how far up or how far down. Just make sure to stay consistent with where you start and where you stop. The next thing you would probably go to is the E chord and just play through all the different chords. So the fourth exercise builds on the third exercise, whereas before we were just... The fourth exercise would be actually arpeggiating it a bit. So okay, let me try to explain this. So this is for the C chord. So you would just start on the E and then go down. And then you go on the next note above the E, which is G, and then you go down. And then the next note up after G, which would be C. Alright, now, then after you master the C chord, you would just go on to the D chord, which would look like this. Now, there's another thing you can do if you want, and that's going up with your arpeggiation. And you can master that on all of the chords as well, although I don't usually use that, but if you like that, then you should practice that as well. Okay, so those are the exercises. How would you use that in a song? So the example song that I'll be using today is Our God by Chris Tomlin. It's going to be in the key of A. So the verse, which is what I'm going to be using during this example, goes like this. So F sharp minor, D, A. F sharp minor, D, A. B minor, E. Alright, now using what I've learned about pieces and arpeggios and inversions and all, this is how I would play it. are just constrained to using only that. Now, if I were lazy, and I wanted to reduce the amount of error I was having with my right hand, because it's the more adventurous hand for me, I would use pieces a lot. For example, so as you can see, I played the first two chords, F sharp minor and D, with my right hand without moving at all. How can I do this? Well, okay, so the F sharp minor, the inversion would be like this. And to actually play the F sharp minor, it would be A, C sharp, and F sharp. And the inversion for D would be A, D, and F sharp. Now, considering both that they're both really close, all I have to do is just move that finger. I don't have to move those fingers at all. In fact, I don't want to play those fingers. How about I just play this for both and do the hard task of actually moving and assign it to my left hand, which my left hand can do pretty well. So as you can see, I played F sharp minor, D, and A, and I played all of those three chords without moving this one note. Now, I may be cheating here, and you could say that, but sometimes it sounds really good. And number two, it does decrease the amount of error that you have.